I started that unlucky day by spilling an entire cup of coffee on the only clean white shirt I had left. And what made it worse was that I only noticed it after getting on the bus and sitting next to a polite old Kiwi man who kept looking at me with a mix of pity and suspicion. I smiled awkwardly, trying to wipe the coffee stain that looked like a world map. But the more I wiped, the worse it got. The old man coughed gently and said,
"That's quite a pattern, mate."
I could only reply, "Yeah, it's my new fashion line. Coffee couture." He laughed, while I just wanted to jump off the bus and disappear. When the bus reached my stop, I got off, hoping the bad luck was over. But no. My foot landed right in a puddle big enough to be a mini swimming pool, soaking my pant leg completely. I stood there, water dripping from my pant leg, feeling like a soggy version of the resilient immigrant. Some passers-by smiled at me as if to say, "Welcome to New Zealand." I told myself, "No worries. I'll just go to my favorite cafe, have a flat white, and everything will be fine, semicolon." But when I got there, my bank card got declined. I tried tapping again. Switched to EFTPOS, tapped again. Nothing worked. The cashier smiled politely.
Maybe try again later?
And I smiled back like, "Sure, I'll come back after winning the lottery." I dug into my wallet and found a few coins. Enough to pay for coffee, but not for a muffin. I sat there sipping my flat white, watching others eat muffins, wondering if anyone in the world was having a worse morning than me. When I left the cafe, it started raining. Not the soft, romantic movie kind, but the kind that slapped my face, like someone throwing ice water. And of course, I had left my umbrella at home. I ran into a nearby supermarket, dripping wet, my shoes making a sound with every step. People looked at me like I had just swum over from Auckland. I just wanted to grab a few things: milk, eggs, bread. But at the checkout, I realized I forgot my eco bag. So I had to buy a plastic one. That cost twice as much as last time. I thought, oh well, at least I have a bag to carry my sadness. I ran into my house, wishing I had a blanket to cover myself from head to toe. But of course, the only clean blanket was in the laundry. I stood there, soaking wet like a heartbroken dog, wondering if anyone in the world was having worse luck than me. To ease the sadness, I decided to take a quick shower. But when I turned on the tap, the water trickled like weak tea. I twisted it harder. The tap made a clack-clack sound as if protesting. The water barely dripped, enough to make me colder and more miserable. I looked at myself in the mirror. Hair a mess, face shiny, eyes droopy. I told myself, if there's an award for the unluckiest person in New Zealand, I'd win gold for sure. I decided to do something to forget all the bad luck. So I grabbed my phone to watch funny YouTube videos. But guess what? The Wi-Fi was out too. I laughed bitterly, telling myself, so the universe wants me to mock myself with just my imagination. I sat there, staring out the window at the pouring rain, wondering how a day could be consecutively miserable. And then, I saw the neighbor's cat casually jumping onto my balcony, knocking over the flower pot I had just arranged that morning. The pot shattered, soil scattered everywhere, flowers leaning as if mourning. I screamed, "Oh, this is literally the comedy of my life," and ran to get the vacuum. But the moment I plugged it in, the fuse blew. Lights went out, and I stood in the dark, like a betrayed ghost. I sighed, thinking, maybe I should learn to be an unlucky ninja, silently enduring everything without complaining. And then, I heard my phone ring. It was the landlord, saying the fuse blew because was using too many electrical devices at once. I laughed fully, a mix of disappointment and self-mockery. I thought, I'm living in a long-running sitcom, and every episode ends with a new unlucky twist. To change the mood, I decided to cook. I picked a simple dish, instant noodles with an egg. But when I cracked the egg, it was rotten. All I could do was stare at the noodles, thinking, surely the noodles will betray me too. I had no choice but to cook the noodles, leaving out the egg. While waiting for them to cook, I heard a plop. The leftover coffee I had left on the table spilled onto the floor, forming a small but dramatic coffee puddle. I looked at it and exclaimed, "Oh, coffee and I are just never compatible." I ate the noodles in silence, tears mixed with the aroma of spilled coffee, and told myself, tomorrow will be better, or not. Maybe it's just the next episode of this unlucky sitcom. I looked out the window and saw brilliant sunlight. The rain had stopped, the sky was blue, and in the distance, a rainbow appeared. I laughed out loud, the kind of laugh of someone who just battled the universe.